So now we're live officially, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, Kari La Fleur. Welcome, Kari.
Hello, namaste.
Hello. And thank you for orchestrating the family and the work day to come be here. I appreciate that we had the support of everyone on your team.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you have a couple of tweens and a teen in your kid count, right? Or are Jody and Brandon officially teens now?
They're teens.
Okay, so
They're
no more
officially
of the tween
teens.
status. Yeah, so I love, that you
All
and
high schoolers.
yeah, and that you and Laura Lee are just have just such a balance of like family life that is so inspiring. Yeah, and you just seem to be really reveling in it along the way. So thank you for that modelship.
It's
Yeah,
one day at a time, and we make it up as we go.
right,
At least
right.
sometimes.
Yeah. But I love that. I feel like when you like teach and share and do the work you do in various ways, which a lot of what you do is you just being yourself in the world thus far, right? Like I know you're easing into officially being even more and more of an official practitioner in the world because you're
Yeah,
someone who's really been touching lives in a lot of ways with just being who you are and even with your musicianship, right? That I know you're having been a singer songwriter all these years has been another way that you've been touching lives. Um,
yeah.
but I love that now you've owned that you have this ministry coming through you, and you're even an official reverend now, and that you've added the Reiki training to how you show up and help people, and even that you're doing work with animals now is so
Yeah.
amazing. That you have like horse Reiki and therapy that you're doing. So yeah, I just knew it would be so cool to have you here for whatever might come through. But in this series, that just to remind you, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to learn and grow more about relationships and how to be more conscious about that, and meaning relationships with other people for sure, but also just our relationship with everything, including ourselves, and certainly like the spirituality to all that, which you're one of my favorite spiritual teachers, I would call you. So yeah, I'm just so happy to have you here and see what comes through as we play with these topics. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, with respect to relationships, for me, I first had to, get real with me, right? I had
Mm.
to um, get out of my own fears, um, and ego and sort of conscious limitations. I had to get out of my own way first. I had to build a relationship of trust with myself through the years. And most recently, within the last 3 years, I've really honed in on what that means and what that opens up for a person. So
Mm.
if you're true to yourself, and I don't mean true to yourself at the expense of anyone else,
Mm.
right? Because that doesn't work either. It's just being true to yourself. Always speak the truth, always come from unconditional love. Um, it's amazing what things actually come to you, through you, for you. Um, it's I don't believe we are separate from a god or a spirit or a universe. We are part of it. We are it. Um, and because this infinite source of for God, of God, he, we are personified in that energy as a human, right? So we get to have this wonderful experience,
Mm.
right? To see what we can accomplish as we hone in walking in unconditional love, right?
Mhm.
Unconditional giving, unconditional receiving. So that way we can see. So as we are spirit, what has sort of those aha moments these last few years for me, it's like the ocean doesn't know it's an ocean unless it has the fish in it, right? Unless it has the coral in it. Otherwise, it's just, what is it? It
Ah,
doesn't know it's an ocean. But if you have the fish in it, it knows it's something,
ah.
right? Because you have something in it that lives in it. So it's like, we're this amazing energy source on this planet, this specific planet, right? To have an experience and to allow that ultimate energy source have that experience,
Mm.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and to just remember that that's what's going on can
Right.
change our experience so much, and just stay rooted in that awareness. But yeah,
Right.
go on.
Yeah. So, um, we've known each other for a lot of years, and I've always had this, energy healing healer type sense. Even, I mean, from, even from a little girl, not understanding what it was, um, you know, thinking that just people didn't quite understand what I was trying to say. um, and then and putting all that thought process in a box for, too many years, to being um, reborn.
Mm.
I think it's like a rebirth,
Right. Yeah.
and then through that rebirth process, uh, finally coming to the realization of I want to be an energy healer. I want to help people. I want to give service, right? So I want to help people. I want to help animals. I want to have a positive um, input and experience for my children. And I was getting in my own way of making that happen. I was the one telling me, well, I can't. People won't accept it because I'm not certified. And the thing is, we all have the capabilities, but I'm not certified, right? You're not credible if you're not certified. So finally, I realized, well, shoot, I need to get out of my own way. You go get certified. Who cares? It's a piece of
Uh,
paper now, right? And then you're certified now, go do what you want to do, right? Which
mm.
is serve people. So that's what I did. I spent 2 years um, in training, in energy healing, in Reiki, um, and in studying um, crystal work, oil work, and I then had with COVID. So I was on a trajectory, right? And COVID hit. So then you got to pivot. So how
Mm.
did I pivot? Well, I always did some work with the horses. Instead of with the humans, I ended up helping horses. Like that's what I ended up doing, right? For the balance of last year's.
Mm.
I have now built a clientele with the horses, and
Mm.
using all my learnings of Reiki and energy healing and animal Reiki, along with the crystals and the oils, to help balance horses.
Uh,
Because horses are very sensitive. So now we're into 2021, and my path and my trajectory is, not only do I have many clients that I um, have, and I work on their horses weekly, every other week, monthly,
mm.
but now doors are opening up where the people see the benefit they see in their horse,
Ooh.
that now they want it,
Wow.
right? So I've by just allowing it to unfold. I don't force it. Someone said, do you do the same energy on humans? I say yes. I give a card and I just let it go to the universe. I don't because it's the person needs to be ready and open to it, right? So
Mm.
I'm not going to go out there do some kind of marketing spiel, and or advertisement, or I rely on their own individual desire and the word of mouth, right? So I've
Mm.
got lots of friends that say, hey, you need to call Kari, or Kari can help your horse with that because, and they give their own testimonials.
Mm.
And I'm when I sit in that thinking that it will just come when it's ready to come. right? When I have the time, and the ability to give the service, it unfolds magically.
Ah.
And what my goal, I've written down a goal, is I want a spiritual practice, because I consider myself an alchemist reverend.
Mm.
um, I consider myself a spiritual oracle. So what I believe is I am paving the way to have a spiritual healing type business for when I retire.
Mm.
Right? So then it's fun money, right? Right now it's about, it's almost like tithing, or I
Mm.
consider it more of a donation, because it replenishes me, so to speak, and then it kind of, with energy healing, you kind of have to break the connection,
Mm.
so you don't continue to take on the client's stuff.
Mm.
With horses, I don't necessarily need to do that, but
Huh.
I still accept, because what I end up doing is I break the connection with the human.
Hmm.
Because what I'm finding, as I'm working on the horses, that transmute, that it literally has been transmuting to some of the owners who
Yeah.
have issues,
Uh,
and some of the owners' own emotional baggage
yeah.
is displaced onto the horse.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
as I clear the horse and balance the horse, I'm
Uh,
actually
yes.
balancing the owner. And I've
Whew.
seen that. And
Uh,
um because people say, I'll work on a horse, and they're like, you got to work on so and so. And I always say, I do. As I'm working on the horse,
oh
I'm
my
working on
gosh.
them,
That is so cool.
right?
I
So
love that.
yeah, so I, it's giving the service. For me, that's my love, giving
Mm.
back. And then, of course, this year is learning I can receive, I can accept payment. I don't have to call it payment.
Mm.
Um, I don't, it's not necessarily restitution, but
Mm.
it's a token, right? It's a token of love to replenish that energy that is sort of, you know, taken from me. It's not necessarily taking, because I'm giving it, but
Yeah.
the energy that I'm releasing,
Yeah.
that's a way to kind of gain that back, and then break a connection so that I don't take on their energy. And I find I'm actually better at healing, and less and more energized. Yeah.
Literally makes
More
sense.
more energy, and especially with the humans, not as drained. Because
Ah.
before, when I would practice, especially on the humans, depending on the human, most humans, I would be drained,
Yeah.
because I was taking on their energy. I was giving mine, but not getting anything back. With
Yeah.
horses and animals, as much as I give, they give back.
Yeah.
It's just automatic, right? For animals, it's unconditional,
Oh, that's
um,
so
or
cool.
automatic almost.
Oh.
So that's another thing that I've noticed by accepting. And I still struggle. I still go back and forth. Do I want to charge, this much? Or do I want to, do I want to charge $55? Do I want to do 20? Do I want to give a discount? Like, Kari,
Yeah.
stop.
Mm.
Stop. You have a value. You have a gift. Allow it, and allow whatever to come back.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so I do have to remind myself,
Ooh.
um,
I think
often.
this is so exciting, really, because and probably resonates with a lot of people because so often our kind of work in the world, right, and these, yeah, the ways that we find that we're specifically helping come through just the way we're naturally being, and it's so interesting to
Yep.
start to own it more, and then even to consider like how does the money play a role, and the worthiness that goes with it all, right? And just so interesting for someone who's so spiritually oriented at the same time, right? That when we see ourselves having those worth issues, which this is totally speaks to me too. Absolutely, this has been something I've struggled with over the years, and yeah. But then if we open up to that, it's all energy and it's all God, right? And so that even means money, and so right. It's interesting to keep letting it actually be a spiritual thing. All
Right.
of it, right? And that's
Right.
one of the things
Right.
I think you're so rooted in is your, if I were to judge, is your sense of spirituality and you're like your feelings of connection with spirit, or how you conceive of it. And that's so cool and interesting. And that's something I'd even love to talk to you about more. Um, is because I know I think part for you, like when I know you also just have this real magical awareness of our connection with, say, those that we love that have passed, right? And I seem to recall that, like, when your mom died, right, that was a real transformative time that actually spiritually connected you, I think, in so many more ways, right? You're just
Yes.
awareness of her presence and how that's led you into having that be such a part of your practices and even your time in, like, Lilydale. Is that what that
Yep.
place is called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how
Yep.
you
Yep.
would go there and kind of learn from other people about how to be even more, like, magically aware of the presence of spirit right now, in our moments in various ways. So I don't know, would you anything how do you want to flow on that one? Because to me that seems like part of what you are practicing and sharing, and I'd love to hear more and more from you about that.
Well, spiritually in that realm, I've always had a sense that obviously we somehow or other could reach out to um, our loved ones who've have transitioned, right? But
Yeah.
again, it's the self judgment and the majority of society thinking that says, no, 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 you can't. They're gone, or no, they don't. There is no heaven. No, there. It's that sort of short sighted thinking, right? That starts to permeate. But um, my mom, before she passed, my mom was on a path of becoming more spiritual, and she was building
Fascinating.
up a more of like a meditative group
Ah.
where people could come to her house and they would do meditation. And she was very big in the tarot cards, because she had lupus. So for her to kind of go out and about wasn't optimal, because she was very sun sensitive. And so she would get sick. So what she would do was bring people to the home and
Mm.
hold these big, basically spiritual circles, meditation. And, that helped me see a trajectory that I could potentially be on.
Mm.
But I was also, I was in my 20s um, during that time. And, I was starting out in the corporate world. So my focus was building myself corporately
Mm.
for whatever reason. But then 98, she passed. And that, that moment, changed everything for me. It was a complete turnaround in thinking,
Ah. And how
where
old were you around that age?
it was 98. So I
Okay.
was 30, I was in my 30s
Yeah.
at that point. Um, um, and it was just so profound to know, because I'll give you an experience. So I was, the first night I got home, she passed away in her bed. So then anyway, I slept in her room. I slept in her bed, and I said, Mom, I said, I really want to know what you went through. I really want to know if you felt any pain. Did it hurt? Because I didn't want her to suffer, right? No one wants your loved one to hurt or suffer when they pass, right? So I closed my eyes, and I went into I went, gosh, I was surprised I went to sleep, because it was just one of those. Anyway, what I felt was it felt like I had an elephant on my chest. I couldn't breathe. Yeah, kind of like when you're a little kid and you're holding your breath underwater, and you're swimming back and forth underwater to see how many laps you can do before you have to come up and take a gulp of air.
Mm.
That's how it felt. But my gulp of air, I ended up in this in the universe, in the iridescent energy field of light. And I know that they were angels. And my mom was there and said, see, it's nothing to be afraid of. And no, it didn't hurt. I'm like, wow, okay. And then it's like I woke up the next morning, I'm like, wow, okay. So I knew then that I've seen that side of our universe, right? And through that, other little things have occurred through the years. And whenever a little bee, honeybee, comes around, I know that's my mom because she definitely made sure she told me, not from a stinging perspective, but at her funeral, there was a bee that kept buzzing right around here. He'd fly and fly. And my cousin said, hey, you know what? That's Joanna. That's your mom. So um, I know I know that we are part of something um, greater than what we can just see with our blinders on.
Yeah.
And so that spirituality continued to push me, or that understanding at that time kept pushing me closer and closer and closer to where I am today. So but I had to learn, right? I had to learn the self-judgment. I had to learn um, how to be unconditional. I had to learn truthful communication, not with just myself, but with others. So it's, and again, my brother passed a few years back, and it's like becoming an ordained minister was what was interesting was a conversation in someone's kitchen, and they're like, "Why not?" Right? Again, it's the self limitation. Why not? You can't go do it. I did. Right. So spirituality is big for me, and it's, I don't consider myself any one religion. Religion to me is more of an institution. So I prefer to be more of a spiritualist, but not in the religion form of spiritualism, right? Because there is such a thing as in the box spiritualism. But I'm a humanist in the world of spiritualism, having a wonderful, wonderful journey, and hopes for infinite growth, if not already. Right?
Ooh, I love that word, infinite growth. It's so like expansive and inviting.
Yep.
Wow. I just feel like it's got to be powerful for people to just hear more about just your story of growth and connection and how that's unfolded and led you to where you are now, bringing it all together more and more and seeing how you can use your gifts, right, in more and more ways. And and then just the processes that have gone with your spiritual awareness strengthening, right? That how you had to kind of move through fears and doubts
Yep.
and keep clearing through that to allow the connection more and more, right? And to keep
Right.
with that, yeah. And I mean, I think of you as someone who because I know you and I've gotten to even work together with you. Let me like share some yoga with you over the
Yes.
years, and so I've been in on some of like how you do your practices and stuff. But I feel like you're someone who throughout the day, because you're a busy mom of teens, and you got your work in the world of various sorts, right? Corporate and non-corporate, and so I think of you as someone who just throughout your day, I get the sense that you're tuning in, tapping in, having moments of prayer, whether you're doing that internally or even sometimes with others, if it can kind of be helpful. But in just a very gentle, down to earth way too. I love that it's never like this. It's always so perfectly appropriate when I've been around. When you have allowed to like even share that with others, that kind of moment of like even like leading a prayer, really almost in like how you're helping those you're around. So is that true? Would you say that you're just kind of in and out of your spiritual practices throughout the day, and just kind
Oh
of in
yeah.
a mode of using things like prayer and such more like just habit and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's I even sort of I think I transmute it sometimes even in the corporate world. Um,
Yeah, I bet.
Taking a deep breath,
Yeah.
coming back to center sometimes. And what I have found is as I've grown that practice, self practice
Mm.
of checking in every now and then, right?
Mm.
I'm actually in, you know, in a position where I work today, where I am part of a wonderful giving team who supports um, the team environment, how you get more done when
Mm.
you team, but you delegate from a team perspective. It's just wonderful. And I just love the fact that everybody's respected, and you don't have to worry that you're being fed, a line just because someone else is trying to protect their own selves.
Mm.
So I believe through my daily practicing of being centered has unfolded that for me. And that in itself has allowed me these last couple of years to work my second love. My first love would be my family. Actually, it's my third love. First love is family. Second love is my horse. Third love is my energy healing. Um, but that has allowed me to really hone that. And it's always about, if you're feeling uptight, just stop and take a deep breath. Some people say, take 3 deep. You know what? One deep breath is really all it takes, but you got to stop and just take a deep breath. And it's funny because your shoulders will drop when your mind gets clearer, and then you can move forward to whatever it is. Um, but I've also found that if I'm holding on to things so tight, then I can't flow. I can't let things around me flow. I can't let the journaling, and I journaled faithfully every morning. I can't let the words come through. I sit there and I stare at the world. It's just like, okay, just relax. And then if all I put on the page is good morning,
Mm.
that's exactly what needs to be put on the page, and not to worry about it. The yoga practice, I'm making sure I do some type of yoga during the day. There's some poses that I like to do every morning after I journal. Sometimes I don't quite get to them because then all of a sudden kids are up, or I'm working with kids, and I always say to myself, I'll get back to it later. That doesn't happen. But um, what I end up doing is I say, it's okay. I forgive you. Right? It's okay. If you didn't get to those today, there's always tomorrow, or there's always later, whatever. Um, but then I will always find a pocket of days in a row where I do my yoga, right? Um, and that's perfect. And I truly believe there will be that moment where I'm doing it every single day, at
Mm.
least 1 to 2 poses every
Mm.
single day. I know it. I know it in my heart.
Mm.
But I don't want to beat myself up if I don't get to it. So that's
Yeah.
the key. If we as humans, as we as souls, we got to stop beating ourselves up because we didn't do this or we didn't do that. We didn't say this, we didn't say that. Okay, well, forgive yourself. If you want to say what you want to say, then go say it now.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to let it go, be fine with that. Don't harbor it, right? Don't dwell on it. If you're dwelling on it, that means you had to say it.
Mm.
So if you're going to dwell on it, then say it and accept whatever the outcome is of saying it, you
Ah,
know?
yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I've learned in a big way. And I find myself much more happy, um, almost giddy, walking around the house, dancing out of the blue or singing out of the blue, humming out of the blue. And the family going, Mama, you're crazy. Mama, you are just, oh gosh, Mama, you know, and I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it
That they see
because
you
I'm
happy.
smiling and it makes
Uh,
them smile. And
yeah.
I'm
And
filled with
I
love.
feel like you're someone who you are really rooted in this unconditional love. Like, you're really got this practical way that you're practicing that and actually bringing that through. And I'm like, even just in your tone and the way you talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, oh it is gonna. It's like I'm like, oh, it is gonna be okay, whatever it is. So it's just, but yeah, that it's just a beautiful. I think yours is just a beautiful story of how you've allowed it very naturally, even though you've made it a priority too.
Mhm.
And that just like showing how it's unfolded through things that life has brought your way. Um, yeah, just so it's just very grounded and um, yeah, I can just feel it. I could feel the unconditional coming through you, which is pretty rare in these times, right? And that's why, like, yeah, someone like you and the things you might post, I think have this real different feeling to them because it's very genuine
Mhm.
and you might say like positive, but just in this very pure way, like that it's pure and practical and grounded and yeah, and that you help us remember it's about how we're being with the people in our lives right now, too. Just every person that we're meeting, interacting with, taking that as knowing that's a moment of something important going on. I feel like you're someone who really models that. Like you're just, yeah.
Well, for everybody we um, come in contact with, one way or another, whether the energy meshes or not, there's always a lesson to learn.
Mm,
So even though you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm not sure about that person," um, I I try not to judge but what I try to do is say, okay, what am I trying? What can I learn from that? What am I supposed to see in that? Because
mm,
it's a mirror for sure. I mean,
mm,
all of us are mirrors of each other because we're all energy, which therefore we are all connected. So
mm,
that means we're these brilliant little mirrors all over. Um, so it's that part. It's if it feels off, then it's like, okay, what am I exuding that might be saying,
mm.
okay, that's not what I want to exude.
Yeah,
Right? That's the
yeah,
energy I don't want to put forth. So I want to put forth this type of energy.
uh,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's what I try to do
yeah.
with
That
people.
you're always like owning it and your role in things, or often at least. I don't know if you'd say always, but more than a lot of people. And
Yeah.
yeah, not looking to cast blame, like really seeing how futile that is, and encouraging us
Right.
all
Right.
to be in that place. And I'm remembering how you and I want to honor your time, so I'll be ready to close this up soon. But um, we had fun realizing that word minister and
Mm.
ministry, like what it really
Mhm.
means when you look it up about how you're just like allowing through this message, right? Or, and so I love that you're someone who you've already been being a minister, right? Even before you even got the official certification. And then you're right now, you're continuing to be knowing that you have a ministry going on, right? But it's not like we've seen with traditional religion at this
Right.
point. So it's just, it's so much in how you're actually being just with every human in your life and moving through your moments, right? And that as a ministry is so
Right.
cool, right?
Right.
To realize
Right.
too. So, hmm. So yeah, thank you for modeling that, and then just yeah, reminding that we all could realize that we could be playing that role, right? And
Right.
it's not about like trying to force something on people. Like you never are bringing it in that way. It's more about
Mm-mm.
this allowing and this supporting and this tone and this energy, really, that you can't fake.
Right.
It's not about
Right.
even the words. Sometimes it's about the energy and the tone and sometimes the lack of words, right? And the listening. So
Yes. Yeah.
it's so important and just like a divine way of being, really. Yeah. Thank you for modeling that. But yeah, just in honoring your time, I knew 30 minutes would go easily. But is there anything else that you want to say along the lines of conscious relationships and such before we would start to call it towards a close?
Um, just that I'm so grateful for an opportunity here to um, share
Mm,
my spirituality, my insights. Again, it's about giving service and being a bright light that people can um, embrace and
mm,
hopefully take with them a little piece of or a nugget of inspiration.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
to
And
make their day
terrific.
a little better, you know.
Yeah.
I give
Yeah.
everybody an angel. I always say, give them an angel.
Mm. What do you mean by that? Give them an
Well,
angel.
yeah. So it's like I give them if I see somebody who's hurting, or I see somebody that's maybe not doing something that is in love,
Ah.
uh, rather than rather than getting angry at it or geting all emotional about it. I just say, I go, give them an angel. You know, it's a nugget. So it's give them an angel.
Ah.
Let the angel work, right? Let the light work. Let
Ah.
let that work to help that person or
Ah.
persons.
Yes. Right. And it is such a different way to respond versus like getting mad, and kind of we do the opposite sometimes where we might take the energy away from their picture, and instead they really do like an angelic presence or sense of support, whatever that might
Mm-hmm.
mean. So give them an angel.
And then by giving them an angel, giving them a nugget of light, I'm not giving them me,
Mm.
right?
Uh-huh. Right.
I don't want
Uh-huh.
to deplete me.
Yeah.
Right? I
Right.
don't want to go into that. If it's negative, I don't want to go into that negative. But
Mm.
and of course, so how do I help without taking on give them an angel?
Yeah,
Right?
instead of trying to be their angel, because then when you're trying to be everybody's
Exactly.
angel, it
Exactly.
wears on you, and then you get resentful, probably, right? And you're just not even in that
Right.
angelic energy at all.
Right. Right. So I call upon the universe and I just say, give them an angel. Because
Yeah,
remember, we're
that
connected to the universe. We're
yeah,
all connected. So
yeah.
I just affirm it. It's done.
Yes, that it's a team thing, right? We've got like this team support. Uh,
Yep.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's really helpful for me. It feels like magical. Um, and then I know that soon. I think you're you might be doing some things like making videos and such. So for now, if people want to stay connected to you and following and staying tuned for that, what are some ways you'd like people to be able to find you? What are good ways for people to reach out or connect with you? If that, because they'll see this on Facebook and YouTube later.
Well, I am on Facebook. I actually
Yeah.
set up a Facebook site. So what I can do is I can send you the link
Okay.
later if you want,
Yeah.
and they can tap into there,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
can, if they want to, then I can add them to that site. So if they have
Hmm.
questions or concerns or
Mm-hmm.
if they want a healing, anything, they can then go
Mm-hmm.
to that site, the Facebook site, and ask and talk.
Okay. Uh,
Um,
Yeah. Wow.
and
And thank you so much for being, I mean, I hope you don't mind that because we're friends. Like I know some, so I let this be kind of personal and brought up things like about your family and
no,
your
no, no, it's
whatnot. So
okay.
thanks for being willing to be open.
Oh yeah, we have to be real, right? We have to
Yes.
be real.
Yes. I
Yeah.
appreciate that on Facebook and YouTube Live. I could have like clarified that was okay in advance, but thanks for rolling with it. So, well, thank you so much for being here, Kari. And yeah,
Oh,
I
thank
know
you.
that some people will be touched by this for sure, and it'll help along their journey. And I know that I have too. It's totally things I needed to hear today. Absolutely. So thank you
Oh,
so
it's my pleasure. I love you.
much.
I love all of you.
Yeah, I love you too. And yeah, we love you all who are with us. And thanks for being here. Stay tuned for more. And yeah, thanks for joining us for today. All right. Be well out there, y'all.
Okay.
Namaste.
Bye.